The encounter captain Elena Rodriguez stood on the bridge of the Earth defense ship Titan's Wrath, watching the swirling storms of Jupiter through the main viewport. The massive gas giant filled half the screen, its great red spots spinning like an ancient eye that had witnessed the birth of the solar system. Rodriguez was a veteran of the Martian Independence War and the asteroid belt conflicts. At 42, she had seen more combat than most admirals, but today was supposed to be different. Today was supposed to be quiet. The Titan's Wrath was conducting routine patrol operations in the outer solar system. The ship was part of Earth's new generation of defensive vessels, designed after the hard lessons learned from decades of interplanetary warfare. Every system aboard was built for one purpose: to destroy enemies before they could threaten Earth or her colonies. The crew of 800 moved with practiced efficiency through their daily routines, maintaining weapon systems that could crack moons and defensive arrays that could withstand direct nuclear strikes. Dr. Thane Winters, the ship's chief scientist and tactical analyst, approached Rodriguez with his usual morning report. Winters was a thin man with graying hair and sharp eyes that missed nothing. He had designed half the weapon systems aboard the Titan's Wrath and understood their devastating potential better than anyone. "All systems green, Captain," he reported. "The new plasma torpedo arrays are performing beyond specifications. We could engage a full battle group and come out victorious." Rodriguez nodded, but her attention was focused on something else. The bridge's quantum sensors were picking up unusual readings from the edge of the solar system. "Lieutenant Chen, what are you seeing out there?" she asked her sensor operator. Lieutenant Sarah Chen frowned at her displays. "I'm reading massive gravitational distortions near Pluto's orbit. Something big is coming through hyperspace." She paused, running the calculations again. "Multiple contacts, Captain. This is bigger than anything we've ever seen." The main screen shifted to show long-range sensor data. Dozens of contacts were emerging from hyperspace, their energy signatures unlike anything in Earth's databases. The ships were enormous, some measuring over 2 kilometers in length. They moved in perfect formation, suggesting advanced coordination and discipline. "Battle stations," Rodriguez ordered calmly. Throughout the ship, alert sirens began to sound. The crew moved to combat positions with the smooth efficiency of a machine built for war. Weapon systems powered up, defensive shields activated, and the Titan's Wrath transformed from a patrol vessel into an instrument of destruction. But the alien fleet did something unexpected. Instead of advancing toward Earth or taking aggressive positions, they stopped. The massive ships hung in space at the edge of the solar system, making no hostile moves. Then, something unprecedented happened. They sent a communication. The message came through on multiple frequencies, using mathematical sequences and universal constants that any spacefaring civilization would recognize. The ship's advanced translation systems worked frantically to decode the alien language. After several minutes, a voice spoke through the bridge speakers. "Unknown vessels of the inner system. This is Admiral Zexkar of the Catherian Empire commanding the first exploration fleet. We come in peace and seek peaceful contact with your civilization. We request permission to approach and establish diplomatic relations according to standard galactic protocols." Rodriguez exchanged glances with her senior officers. First contact with an alien civilization was something humanity had prepared for, but it was still surreal to experience. "Open a channel," she ordered. "This is Captain Elena Rodriguez of the Earth defense ship Titan's Wrath, representing the United Earth Government. We acknowledge your peaceful intentions and welcome contact with your people. What are these standard protocols you mentioned?" The reply came quickly. "Captain Rodriguez, we are pleased to make contact with your species. Standard first contact. Protocols involve a mutual exchange of basic information about our respective civilizations. This includes limited scanning of our vessels to assess technological compatibility and establish appropriate diplomatic frameworks. We would scan your ship to understand your development level, and you may scan ours. This ensures neither side has unrealistic expectations about the other's capabilities." Dr. Winters moved closer to Rodriguez. "Captain, this could be valuable. Intelligence. We need to understand their technology if we're going to establish any kind of relationship with them." Rodriguez considered the request. Earth's first contact protocols did allow for limited information exchange during peaceful encounters. Admiral Zexkar, we agree to your scanning proposal. However, our scans will be limited to external systems only, as per our security regulations. Of course, Captain Rodriguez. We have similar restrictions. We shall begin with passive sensor sweeps to avoid any appearance of hostility. Aboard the Catherian flagship Eternal Harmony, Admiral Zexkar felt a mixture of excitement and nervousness. His species had been exploring the galaxy for centuries, establishing peaceful contact with dozens of civilizations. The Catherians were a naturally curious and diplomatic people, preferring trade and knowledge exchange to conflict. Their ships were marvels of science and exploration, equipped with advanced sensors, comfortable living spaces, and defensive systems designed to protect rather than attack. Sub-Commander Velnara, the fleet's chief science officer, supervised the scanning operations from her station. The Catherians had encountered many species during their explorations, from primitive civilizations just beginning to explore their own star systems to advanced cultures that had mastered interstellar travel. Each contact had taught them something new about the diversity of life in the galaxy. Beginning passive scans of the human vessel, Velnara reported. The Eternal Harmony's sensors were among the most sophisticated in the galaxy, capable of analyzing molecular structures, energy patterns, and technological systems from vast distances. They were designed to gather information without being invasive or threatening. The first scan results appeared on Velnara's displays, and she immediately noticed something unusual. The human ship's hull composition was unlike anything she had seen before. Admiral, these readings are strange. The human vessel appears to be constructed from materials with extreme density. Their hull armor is incredibly thick. Zexkar moved to examine the data. The Catherians built their ships for efficiency and comfort, with lightweight materials and elegant designs. Their hulls were strong enough to withstand micrometeorite impacts and the stresses of hyperspace travel, but they were not built like fortresses. The human ship, by contrast, appeared to be armored like a mobile bunker. Continue the scans, Zexkar ordered. Perhaps they faced different challenges in their home system. As the sensors penetrated deeper into the human ship's structure, Velnara's confusion grew into alarm. Admiral, I'm reading massive power generation systems. Their reactor output exceeds our entire fleet's combined energy production. And these weapon signatures, she paused, running the scans again to confirm what she was seeing. Sir, this cannot be correct. What are you finding? The human ship carries enough explosive power to sterilize a planet's surface. Their missile storage alone contains enough antimatter warheads to destroy our capital city. And these energy weapons, Admiral, each of their main cannons generates more destructive force than our heaviest planetary defense platforms. Other officers began gathering around Velnara's station as the implications became clear. The human ship wasn't just heavily armed. It was built like an instrument of apocalypse. Every system seemed designed for maximum lethality and survival, in combat situations that the Catherians could barely imagine. Run the scans again, Zexkar ordered, his voice tight with concern. There must be some error in our readings, but the subsequent scans confirmed the original data. The human ship designated Titan's Wrath was a marvel of military engineering that exceeded everything the Catherians thought possible. Its weapons could crack planets, its armor could withstand direct nuclear strikes, and its power systems could fuel a small star. Admiral, Velnara said quietly, if this is what they consider a single patrol vessel, what must their battle fleets look like? The question hung in the air like a death sentence. Around the galaxy, the Catherian Empire was known for its peaceful nature and advanced technology. Their exploration fleets had never encountered a species that built ships like the one they were now scanning. The humans had created a vessel that could single-handedly destroy the entire Catherian First Exploration Fleet without sustaining significant damage. Contact the other ships, Zexkar ordered. I want confirmation of these. Readings from every vessel in the fleet. Within minutes, reports flooded in from all 53 ships in the Catherian fleet. Every scan produced the same terrifying results. The human ship was not just a warship. It was a weapon of mass destruction disguised as a patrol vessel. Captain. Rodriguez noticed the change in the alien fleet's behavior. Their ships had begun moving into more defensive positions, spreading out to avoid presenting a concentrated target. Dr. Winters, are you seeing this? Winters studied the tactical display. They're acting like they're afraid of us, Captain. Their formation suggests they're preparing for possible combat, but they're also trying to minimize casualties if fighting breaks out. But we haven't made any threatening moves. No, ma'am, but they've been scanning us for the past hour. Maybe they don't like what they're seeing. Rodriguez was beginning to understand that humanity's approach to spaceship design might be different from these aliens. The Titan's Wrath was considered a standard patrol vessel by Earth standards, but perhaps other species built their ships differently. The communication channel crackled to life again. Admiral Zexkar's voice sounded strained. Captain Rodriguez, our scans of your vessel have revealed some unexpected capabilities. May I ask what role the Titan's Wrath serves in your fleet structure? She's a patrol and escort vessel, Admiral. We use ships like her to guard our shipping lanes and provide security for our outer colonies. There was a long pause before Zexkar responded. Captain, your escort vessel appears to carry enough firepower to destroy worlds. Is this normal for your species' military doctrine? Rodriguez realized the problem. Humans had spent centuries fighting each other across the solar system. Every ship was designed to face other human vessels that were equally well armed and defended. The constant warfare had driven rapid technological advancement and created a military philosophy based on overwhelming firepower and impenetrable defense. Admiral, humans have a saying, peace through superior firepower. We build our ships to handle any threat we might encounter. It's better to have weapons and not need them than to need them and not have them. The response from the alien fleet was immediate and dramatic. The massive ships began accelerating away from the solar system, their formations shifting into full retreat patterns. Emergency transmissions flooded the communication channels as the Catherian fleet prepared for immediate withdrawal. Rodriguez watched in confusion as 53 alien warships fled from her single patrol vessel. She was beginning to realize that humanity's first contact with an alien civilization had revealed something terrifying about her own species. The revelation aboard. The eternal harmony. Chaos reigned as the full implications of the human ship's capabilities became clear. Admiral Zexkar stood in the center of his bridge, surrounded by displays showing tactical analyses that painted a picture of inevitable doom. His senior staff worked frantically to process the scanner data, but every calculation reached the same horrifying conclusion. Sub-Commander Velnara coordinated with the science teams across the fleet, compiling a comprehensive report on the HFY human vessel. The data was overwhelming in its implications. Admiral, we've completed our analysis of the human ship's construction and capabilities. The results are disturbing. Zexkar activated the main holographic display in the center of the bridge. A three-dimensional model of the Titan's Wrath appeared, rotating slowly to show its sleek, predatory lines. Red markers highlighted the weapon systems and defensive installations that the Catherian scanners had identified. The human vessel carries 48 antimatter torpedo tubes, each capable of destroying a city, Velnara began. Their main plasma cannons generate energy, output equivalent to a stellar flare. The secondary weapon systems include particle beam arrays, kinetic projectile launchers, and what appears to be experimental gravitational weaponry. The bridge crew listened in stunned silence as the list continued. The human ship wasn't just well-armed. It was a collection of planet-killing weapons mounted on a single hull. But the weapons were only part of the story. Their defensive systems are equally impressive, Velnara continued. The hull armor is composed of materials we don't recognize, arranged in multiple layers with what appears to be reactive components. Their shield generators could deflect our heaviest weapons indefinitely, and their point defense systems. Admiral, they have enough close-range weapons to destroy our entire missile inventory before it could reach them. Zexkar studied the data with growing dread. The Catherian Empire had achieved peace across hundreds of star systems by being technologically superior to any single species they encountered. Their exploration fleets were more advanced than most civilizations' military forces. But this one human ship could destroy his entire fleet without sustaining significant damage. What about their propulsion systems, he asked. That may be the most concerning aspect of all, Velnara replied. Their engines generate enough thrust to accelerate at rates that would crush most organic beings. The humans appear to have solved the inertial dampening problem more effectively than any species we've encountered. This ship could outrun and outmaneuver anything in our fleet. Commander Thysa, the fleet's tactical officer, approached with additional analysis. Admiral, I've been studying their ship's design philosophy. Every system is built for maximum combat effectiveness. There are no compromises for comfort, efficiency, or peaceful purposes. This vessel exists solely to destroy other ships and survive being shot at. The implications were staggering. The Catherians built their ships to explore, to learn, to establish peaceful contact with new civilizations. Their vessels were marvels of engineering, but they were designed for diplomacy and scientific research. The human ship represented a completely different approach to spacefaring technology. Sir, Velnara said quietly, there's something else. According to their captain, this is what they consider a patrol vessel. If this is their idea of a small ship, she didn't need to finish the sentence. Everyone on the bridge understood the implications. If humanity built escort vessels like the Titan's Wrath, what did their actual warships look like? What kind of fleet could a species field when their patrol boats carried world-ending firepower? Zexkar activated the fleet communication system. The faces of his ship commanders appeared on screens around the bridge. Each captain looked shaken, their usual confidence replaced by barely controlled fear. Report, Zexkar ordered simply. Captain Moore Allen of the Deep Space Explorer spoke first. Admiral, our scans confirm the impossible. This single human vessel could destroy our entire fleet. Our weapons would barely scratch their armor, while any one of their weapons could vaporize our largest ships. It gets worse, added Captain Yexnara from the research vessel Endless Journey. I've been analyzing their technological base, the materials science, the energy generation, the weapons technology. Admiral, they're not just more advanced than us. They're more advanced than anyone we've ever encountered. Captain Zolkar, from the heavy cruiser, Peaceful Dawn, provided the most disturbing assessment. Admiral, I've run combat simulations using every tactical scenario in our databases. In every situation we lose. Not just badly, we lose completely. This one ship could engage our entire fleet and emerge without significant damage. The silence that followed was deafening. For centuries, the Catherian Empire had been the dominant technological power in their region of the galaxy. They had brought peace to dozens of worlds through their superior knowledge and peaceful diplomacy. Now they had encountered a species that made them look like primitives playing with toys. Zexkar closed his eyes and considered their options. They could flee immediately, returning to Catherian space with a warning about humanity's military capabilities. They could attempt to establish peaceful relations, hoping that the humans were as diplomatic as they seemed. Or they could send a warning to the Empire and prepare for what might be an inevitable war. Admiral, Velnara said carefully, there's one more thing we need to consider. The human captain mentioned that they build their ships to fight any threat they might encounter. What kind of threats do they face that require this level of firepower? The question hung in the air like a toxic cloud. What kind of civilization builds patrol vessels with planet-killing capabilities? What enemies had humanity fought that required such devastating weapons? And most importantly, if this was how they built their defensive ships, what did their offensive fleets look like? Dr. Kexmol, the fleet's chief historian and xenocultural specialist, provided a possible answer. Admiral, I've been analyzing the human ship's design philosophy and construction techniques. Based on what we've observed, I believe humanity evolved through constant warfare. Every system on that ship suggests a species that has spent millennia fighting for survival against enemies of equal technological capability. Explain, Zexkar ordered. Look at their armor configuration, Dr. Kexmol continued. It's not designed to stop asteroid impacts or cosmic radiation. It's built to withstand directed energy weapons, kinetic projectiles, and nuclear explosions. Their weapons aren't exploration tools or defensive systems. They're designed to destroy other heavily armed and armored vessels. The realization struck the bridge crew like a physical blow. Humanity hadn't just discovered advanced technology. They had been forced to develop it through generations of warfare. They were a species that had turned the art of destruction into a science. Their entire technological base is built around conflict, Dr. Keksmol explained. Materials science, advanced to create better armor. Energy systems developed to power more devastating weapons. Propulsion technology improved to outmaneuver enemies in combat. This isn't a peaceful species that happened to develop military capabilities. This is a warrior culture that has perfected the technology of war. Captain Rodriguez, still unaware of the panic she had caused in the alien fleet, tried to re-establish communication. Admiral Zexkar, we noticed your ships moving to a more distant position. Is there a problem with our scanning agreement? Zexkar's response was carefully measured. Captain Rodriguez, our analysis of your vessel has revealed capabilities that exceed our initial expectations. We are reassessing the nature of our first contact protocols. I understand your caution, Admiral. Perhaps we could arrange a more formal meeting. We could host a diplomatic exchange aboard neutral ground, or we could visit each other's ships under appropriate security arrangements. The suggestion of boarding each other's vessels sent new waves of terror through the Catherian fleet. The idea of being inside a ship that could crack planets was horrifying enough, but the reverse possibility was even worse. If humans boarded Catherian vessels and discovered how primitive their technology was, would they see the Empire as a threat, to be eliminated, or a resource to be exploited? Captain Rodriguez, Zexkar said carefully, before we proceed with formal diplomatic contact, we need to understand something about your species. The vessel you command carries enough firepower to destroy worlds. Is this level of armament normal for your people? Admiral, I understand your concern. Yes, our military vessels are heavily armed by necessity. Humans have learned that in a hostile universe, survival depends on being prepared for any threat. The Titan's wrath is actually on the smaller side for our fleet structure. The casual mention that this apocalyptic warship was considered small caused several Catherian officers to steady themselves against their consoles. If this was a small ship, what did humanity consider a large one? Zexkar made a decision that would change the course of galactic history. Captain Rodriguez, the Catherian Empire would like to propose a formal alliance between our peoples. The speed of the offer surprised Rodriguez. Admiral, while we're certainly interested in diplomatic relations, isn't an alliance somewhat premature? We've only just met. Captain, our analysis suggests that humanity represents a significant power in this galaxy. The Catherian Empire believes it would be beneficial for our peoples to be friends rather than competitors. What Zexkar didn't say was that the Catherian Empire had just realized they were not the dominant power they had believed themselves to be. Humanity had casually revealed military capabilities that made the Empire's finest warships look like children's toys. The choice was simple: become humanity's allies or risk becoming their enemies. We would be happy to discuss formal diplomatic relations, Rodriguez replied. Perhaps we could start with a cultural and technological exchange program? An excellent suggestion, Captain. We look forward to learning from your people. As the communication ended, Zexkar turned to his senior staff. Send an immediate message to the Empire, priority Alpha clearance. Inform the High Council that we have encountered a species whose military capabilities exceed our own by several orders of magnitude. Recommend immediate diplomatic outreach and alliance negotiations. Sir, Velnara asked quietly, what if they refuse our alliance? Zexkar looked at the tactical display showing the single human ship that had terrified an entire exploration fleet. Then we pray to whatever gods watch over us that humanity is as peaceful as they claim to be. In the hours that followed, as the Catherian fleet maintained its respectful distance from the Titan's wrath, word spread across their empire about the discovery of humanity. Within days, the news would reach every corner of Catherian space. They were no longer alone at the top of the galactic power structure. Humanity had arrived, and the galaxy would never be the same.